64 Tacos Podcasts presents Is This Song Good? This is episode 78. Whitecross, Eternal Fire, and you will find it there.
Welcome to I Caught It on Audio. In today's episode, we are continuing our Is This Song Good series. The theme this time around is Guilty Pleasures, and our next song is one that Dan picked. It is from the band Whitecross, and it's called Eternal Fire, You Will Find It There. Dan, why don't you tell us why you chose this song?
Yeah, so back in the late 80s and early 90s, I had a couple neighbors down the street that were very much into Christian rock, and they were all about it. And so I sort of just got brought along for the ride, and I was like, okay, cool. I don't know anything about any music, so let's let's put the tape in the tape deck and listen. And this was one of the bands that we listened to a lot, Whitecross, particularly this album In the Kingdom that these songs are off of. So it came out, 91? Yeah. So we were like, 12 years old. To me, the most memorable, moment on this album was the Eddie Van Halen style knockoff Eternal Fire.
Yeah.
Guitar solo, and sort of sneaking into You Will Find It There, which is kind of like sort of like a mid-tempo blues rock type thing. I loved listening to these songs, way back when. And then once in a blue moon, I'll like dial it up on YouTube and just listen to some of these songs, because it was it's foundational when you listen to stuff when you're that age. It's a guilty pleasure because there's something inherently cheesy about, first of all, like hair metal, which is almost what this is. It's kind of in that realm. Certainly, the production wise, it's hair metal, and of course,
it's hair metal light.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I mean, he's a genuinely good guitar player. I think his name is Rex Carroll. Like, I mean, that's not like a garbage, guitar solo. It's not Eruption, but
not at all.
And it sounds like the singer has a very sort of like Rat meets Scorpions voice. It's very distinctive.
Yeah.
And this song always makes me think of Scorpions. It just sounds like one of their sort of like big radio, sort of half ballady songs. And it's light in the sense that that Christian music almost always is, which is it feels like an imitation of something that exists already. This whole album is songs that you're like, oh, they were trying to do this band, on this song. And, but when you're 12, you're like, this is so cool. And, I enjoyed the sort of, the epicness and the organ and the big guitar solos, and You Will Find It There. But like, I'm not going to be defending this as like great music or anything. It's just, it just pushes a button in my brain. And, I do think it's very well done for what it is. 80s production and, sort of very obvious, Christian messaging, which is, I think I wonder sometimes, does the sort of explicit viewpoint and goal of Christian bands, to spread the word, so to speak, is that like undermine their ability to be original, songwriters or something? I don't know. You just very rarely hear stuff that doesn't sound like it's knockoff of something else, something probably better. But I every once in a while, this is exactly what I want to hear, and I just sort of smile, and I'm like, this is ridiculous and awesome all at the same time. But I'm definitely feel a little guilty about it. So you guys probably have not heard this before, I'm guessing. So Zach, what are your thoughts?
All right. So this was a lot better than I was expecting. I didn't really know what to expect going into it. But of course I, had my preconceived notions, and then that changed after I listened to it. And so, yeah, you got your Van Halen intro, which is, it's not extremely amazing or anything, but it's certainly a good lead in for a song. And it, checks the boxes. It works as a good little guitar solo. And then, popping into like you said, the 80s hair metal type of style, which is done fairly well, and definitely sounds a whole lot like you were saying, the vocal style of Rat or Scorpions. And when I was listening to it, I was kind of thinking, I know I'm not familiar with this band. I know I've never heard this before, but it seems oddly familiar. And, it sounds like something you would listen to while you're like drinking beer with your buddies or driving around in your Trans Am or something. It just has that type of, sound to it. Or even something that's kind of like a moody sort of, more subtle type of scene in like a 80s horror film or something like that. When things aren't getting killed, there's more of like people just hanging around together or something. And everything was all fine and good until I actually started paying attention to the lyrics.
Yeah.
And that's the really weird thing, because like it without really focusing on that or really internalizing what's being said, it's got this weird sort of passionate, like the lead singer has got this sort of sultry type of delivery, and it feels like, he's making love to my ears with his voice. and then you get into the lyrics and it's like, I don't think this really meshes with the way that it's being presented, I mean, it does and it doesn't. It's like it works perfectly for the song, but the things that are being talked about, you feel like it needs to be a different type of style or a different type of vibe going.
It makes me think of that South Park episode where Cartman just sings really dirty songs, but then just replaces Jesus, the word girl with Jesus, or baby with Jesus.
Yeah,
where you're like, all right, well, if you like this style of music and you want to write like a passionate love song, but you're stuck because you're in a Christian rock band, so you have to make it about God.
Yeah,
it's just kind of strange.
Yeah. It really does feel like, the words and the themes are shoehorned into this other genre. But it's fine. Like, as I was listening to it the first couple of times, I was like, this is actually pretty cool. I don't mind this at all. And in some ways it made me feel the same way that while it wasn't like a power ballad, like the Nature of the Beast or I Still Believe, I really feel like this type of song could have easily come off of some late 80s, early 90s movie soundtrack.
I believe it was on The Passion of the Christ.
Yes. And we don't talk about Mel Gibson anymore.
or Jim Caviezel these days.
Oh, geez. Yeah. So I actually kind of liked it. I thought it was pretty good, and it's better for me if I just don't focus on the lyrics or the lyrical content, and that's okay. You don't really need to delve into that. Dave, what did you think?
So I actually have heard of this band, Whitecross. I too had very conservative neighbors who I would listen to music with, and they were Whitecross fans. I don't remember this song specifically, though, and I really couldn't tell you anything from their catalog. But when you said it was going to be a Whitecross song, I was like, I know that band, or at least I know of them. So that wasn't completely new. But yeah, I don't remember ever hearing this song. I'm pretty sure you're right on that one. You guys said most of it. It's mediocre 80s music. it's a mediocre version of 80s music. Like all the musicianship is probably fine. The guitar solo's
it's
fine.
Good. They execute the thing well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's not interesting. It's one thing to play the notes really quickly and in rhythm, but it's another thing to make it interesting.
Right. And that's where Christian music often falls down, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't doubt that this guy could play Eruption, but he can't write Eruption. That's the difference. It's had they come to my church and been the praise band, I would have loved it. As a 12-year-old.
Yep.
It would have been amazing. Like we talked about that with when we were going through the live Ride or Die. If live in their later era would have been the praise band at church, it would have been amazing. But it's not. That doesn't make it good music. I don't have much more than that. It's perfectly fine for what it is, but it's not particularly original. And
yep, I think that's exactly what sums it up. It's good execution and it's fine songwriting. It is not original. I mean, there's a lot of stuff from the 80s that sounds a lot like this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's somehow something lacking slightly. But at the same time, you can't be like, oh, this is bad. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's not interesting. That's a distinction I'm making.
Yep.
It's perfectly fine musicianship. They just not an interesting songwriting.
Yep. I mean, I would be happy to play guitar as well as old Rex Carroll.
Right.
Because he's
absolutely
miles beyond me. And I mean, he's a somewhat known guitar player, I think, in this sort of that specific world of like shredder guitar players,
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something I find that with most Christian music, there's something sort of imitative, if that's a word. Like there's something that feels slightly disingenuous, and not in like in a negative way, but just in an original way, like you said, Dave.
Yeah.
But I have that childhood connection, so I'm I'm not going to be like, this is great exactly, but like sometimes I'm like, ooh, let me listen a little In the Kingdom and remember what it felt like to be like super pumped about music when you're 12 years old,
Absolutely. And that's another thing. I think this series, this segment specifically, there have been a lot of songs that, we first heard when we were 12 and 13. And it's like, are they as good as we remembered them? Probably not. But also I will always love listening to, that Meatloaf song or the Bon Jovi song, or whether it's good or not. But
Nature of the Beast.
Nature of the Beast. I do love Nature
Zach
of the Beast.
actually went with songs that he didn't cull from his his youth, his early music days.
I wish I had listened to those songs when I was 12.
Yeah.
I would have liked those songs a lot more if they had been sort of imprinted in my brain at that age, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys have anything else on this one?
No.
Nope.
Okay. So I think that's going to be the last song in our Guilty Pleasures series. Oh, real quick. Let's just do a quick wrap up. Is this song good? Dan?
I'm going to say yes.
Zach?
I'm going to say yes. Yep.
I'm going to say no. This is not a good song. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but yeah. So next, we're going to take a few weeks off, and our next theme for the Is This Song Good series is going to be one hit wonders, but not their one hit. So we're going to be picking songs that were written and performed by, a band or artist that had one real big hit, and we're going to pick a song from that was not that hit and determine whether it was as good, if not better, than the hit. And the first one we're going to do is a Joan Osborne song off the album Relish. It's a Bob Dylan cover of the song Man in the Long Black Coat. So you can look for that in a few weeks. And if you want more content like this, you can find everything we've done at 64tacos.com. And if you really liked it, you can buy us a taco at buymeacoffee.com/64tacos. Thanks for listening.
I caught it on audio.